All right, all right, all right, all right. Happy Friday. Good to to see everyone that's here in the office this morning. It's Friday. What's today's date? Let's see here. Friday the 30th of June. 30th of June. And it's a pretty interesting time of year. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to the Clear channel. This is a YouTube channel I've been putting together for the last 3 years or so, 2.5, 3 years. And the whole intention, the whole purpose is to help change the world one leader at a time. And so, first and foremost, if you're in the office this morning and you're on the live recording of this, I want you to look around to some of your peers. And for anyone that's new in the office, please pull out your cell phone, go to YouTube. Please subscribe, KLEAR channel. You can find us obviously on YouTube, but you can find us on all the social media sites. You can follow me on Instagram and other places. But I want to jump right in this morning into some things I've been thinking about, some things that I think can help you guys as you grow in your life and in your careers in general. So I have a couple points this morning. I will tell you, June 30th, like I said, interesting time of year. So you may or may not know this, but it is 50% through 2023. And, I know there's a lot of people, and I'll be doing this at some point later today. I'll be taking 30 minutes to an hour and reviewing my goals, reviewing what I'm looking to do this year in 2023. I'm going to take a step back and look at my goals I wrote in January, and I'm going to evaluate some things that I did do, evaluate some things that I didn't do. I'm going to get on a call with one of my business mentors early next week, which I do quarterly. And I'm going to evaluate, again, my life, my business, things that I'm doing, things that I'm not doing. And if there's nothing you take away from this, 20, 30 minutes this morning, if you're on live or if you're on the YouTube channel, do that. And that will help you have a better second half of the year than maybe your first half of the year. Because, so often people write things down or have goals and then they just forget about them. They don't follow up. They don't, change them or evolve them, and they don't get feedback. So often people try to do this thing in life on their own. And I definitely encourage you to know that it's more difficult when you're alone. First things first, one of the things I want to talk about today is how vital it is to grow your situation in regards to performance and quality. So performance and quality is a huge part of business. I got a chance to travel to South America and see my family, and I have a lot of people in my family in Colombia that are entrepreneurs, and it was so exciting, interesting, and fulfilling for me to see how successful they've been over years, 30, 40, 50 years in business. Some of my uncles and some of my younger cousins, 10, 15, 20 years. And over just different conversations and watching how they lived and some of the day to day, it was very obvious to me how quality matters, and not just quality in their own businesses, but quality of their life, quality of how they treat people. Very, very interesting and very unique and very fulfilling. My uncle has a fertilizing company, has a couple of hotels, and I've always been very inspired. I even told him, when I saw him, I was like, every time I see him over the years, whether it was, weddings a few years ago to see some of his daughters get married, my cousins, or even this time spending some time with my aunt and uncle, it was always very inspiring to see the level of success and the level of doing things. But it's interesting because, he's reached and they've reached a level of success that's inspiring. And they have, a few maids, and they have, a driver to take, took my family, took my kids golfing one day, and they took, them to different appointments they got to go to. But I literally saw some of the staff they have that work in the house go around to the pillows, and the pillows weren't straight and they were readjusted, and they were like hitting the pillow right in the middle. So there was this perfect crease in the pillow and how things were sitting along the couches. And I just thought to myself, like, they were trained to do that. They were trained. They were, the conversation, the communication was passed on from how my uncles and my aunts, that how it should be. Like if people are going to be around their circle, they're going to demand excellence. They're going to demand, a certain way. And I think there's a lot to learn there. Yesterday I ran a call for a lot of reps across the country, and some people that watch this, I know, probably were on that call. I just want to share a quote that I think is vital. But the quote is, "The preserver of abundance is excellence." The preserver of abundance is excellence. And again, the family down there in South America is in agriculture. They provide a lot of fertilizers for things like roses and things across South America. And it's so often in that business, the agriculture, the farming business, and I got other friends that are in the business in the States, that they turned it into an agribusiness where it turned into more of a business and technology and doing things just to kind of churn out volume, as opposed to really protect the land and protect, the opportunity that they have as farmers. And I can tell you, it's no different in the business that we're in as an organization, or the business that a lot of people that watch this channel are in. You gotta have quality and performance. The second thing I want to talk about today is commitment, and a committed heart versus a non-committed heart. One thing I was talking to someone yesterday, entrepreneur for many, many years. And there's another entrepreneur I spoke to when I was traveling, because I was available, right? I told people that I coach and a mentor, hey, if you need to reach out to me, I may not be able to talk right then and there, but we can set up some time. Although I like to travel and get out in town and spend time with family, I want to take care of my family, my business family, my family. And so I noticed some things lately from two types of individuals that I've been coaching, and this person I was speaking to recently, I realized that a non-committed heart, or I would say more of a troubled heart, someone who has a lot going on inside, and they're just kind of dealing with things inside about themselves and different relationships and different, interactions in business, and some things that maybe haven't gone their way or whatever. I've noticed that it's hard to help people when they're going through that time. And so what I like to do, if you're a coach or you're a mentor and you're kind of thinking about someone you care about deeply, so what I like to do is I like to just give them their space. Unfortunately, there's some tough news I got out of one of our markets when I was traveling with someone, super close to me, and I'm trying to help her through some things, that something happened in our business, and I just said, hey, listen, I'm here for you. I know you need your time to kind of get your head straight and your heart straight. Just reach out to me when you need me. And unfortunately, when there's a troubled heart or a non-committed heart, what happens is, if you don't have that time to kind of get over things or to figure things out for yourself, then you tend to get emotional. You tend to say things you don't mean. You tend to do things you don't mean to, and it tends to not work out in a positive way. Now, the other interesting part is someone who is fully committed and fully aware of their insides. When they go through stuff, what they do is they let it go. I had an incredibly fulfilling time in South America, and I'll tell you, and I was not that I was non-committed, but I had a troubled heart for a long time. For the last 10 years, I've gone through really a battle of what happened with my parents, losing them to cancer 10 years ago, and then my kids being born very quickly after that. And my troubled heart was the fact that my kids never met my parents, and it really has been bothering me for many, many years. And I'll tell you, I got a chance to spend some time again with my aunt, who I love dearly, and we had a few a few orange juices, and we just talked, and she just kind of said to me, and again, her family's success and how she looks at the world, she's full of love, and she just said to me, she's like, listen, your parents, they know your kids, that. And I went by where my mom has been buried and things, because she was buried in South America. and had a chance to spend some time and release some energy and into the universe, and really come back to, where I'm at, and realize that I have an incredible gratitude to how my boys are and how the family is. And I'll tell you that kind of really shifted my energy, and it shifted how I look at things. And it ultimately, my aunt literally said something to the extent of, that's, it's kind of selfish. You're not selfish to think, your parents were sick, and they weren't in a good spot, and it was their time. And I had to like come to terms with all of that. And so, I share that with you guys because as I'm more vulnerable, and as I'm talking about things, so often people that succeed in life, or want to succeed, they think that everyone that's successful, everyone that's accomplishing things, that everything is perfect, that everything is okay, that, things are just fine. And that's not the case at all. Everyone is human. Everyone goes through things. And so I will share with you, I think the actions are, and the takeaways are from this little brief story about committed heart, troubled hearts, to non-committed, etc. Is, some things that I would do if I'm were you. One, if I'm committed, I would understand that, hey, the positive stories that I'm telling myself about my peers, about my relationships, about the things I want to accomplish, I should continue to focus on those positive stories. If unfortunately I'm in a place where my heart's a little broken, it's a little hurt, it's again, just kind of confused, be very aware of the stories you're telling yourself, because most of those stories, I call it MSUing. Sometimes you're making shit up that's just not true, right? And so be careful of MSUing. And a lot of, obviously Michigan State fans here that watch this channel, so I'm not talking about you guys. But just be careful making shit up, because the stories hurt your mind. They hurt your progress. They hurt your energies. And that energy is the key, is managing your energy in a positive way to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. But if you resonate with any of this, to start moving forward to your unique greatness, number one, vital is you got to get a coach. You got to get a coach and open up to them. Open yourself up, be vulnerable, ask for advice, think about the advice, apply the advice. That's the trouble about, getting a coach. Sometimes people don't often listen. Put your ego in your back pocket. That's again, a big blind spot for a lot of successful people, is their ego is so big, it just gets in their way. But really, really work on you. Take actionable steps to get yourself to a great spot. So that's point number 2, is just thinking about your heart, where you're at, troubled, not troubled, committed, not committed, etc. And then last one I want to share with you guys today is the idea of forgiveness. The idea of forgiveness. I got a chance again in Colombia. We went to Mass on Sunday and spent some time, and my kids are sitting there. We're in this cute little church that was on the side of a mountain. Excuse me. And my boys sitting there, starting to rain. We were actually kind of outside the church because it was a little church. And I just got a chance to sit there, and it was all in Spanish, which was interesting because my boys don't know Spanish that well. And to be fair, I can get a lot better at my Spanglish. But I just kind of sat there and listened to the sermon and things, and caught about half of it because that's how strong my Spanish is. But it was kind of interesting because I sat there, and it was a beautiful kind of view. The golf course was right there. It was mountains all around, and this was again on the side of a hill kind of thing. And I just kind of looked at the world, and I looked at where I was at, and I just realized that in general, and there's some tough news I got while I was down there about someone in my family, but I realized that everyone is going through something. And you got to give people forgiveness. And it's kind of interesting because I read the book, The Daily Stoic, read a couple pages a day. I'm not the one that just reads one page and moves on. I just kind of read a few pages a day. It's a Ryan Holiday book for anyone that hasn't or doesn't know who that is. It's a good one to read, but it gives a lot of perspective. And interesting enough, as I went through that time in South America, I came back, and this is one of the first pages I read. It says, "Forgive them because they don't know." And it says, as Plato said, every soul is deprived of the truth against its will. The same holds true for justice, self control, goodwill to others, and every similar virtue. It's essential to constantly keep this in your mind, for it will make you more gentle to all people. And Marcus Aurelius said that. And so it made me think a lot about how in business and in life, there's something called a student, and there's also something called a coach. And so often the student misses out on coaching because they're just not ready. There's an old saying that the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And I know in my early 20s in my career and over the course of time, there's different moments of my career that I was coachable, and there's different moments of my career that I wasn't coachable. And I went through kind of waves of things. But the moment you become coachable, the moment that you as a student becomes more aware of some of your strengths and your weaknesses, and you're just ready for it, it's amazing how the universe kind of brings people to you. It's just amazing how that universe, what you put out there, you get back. And so, and this kind of went through a lot. There's a little bit more on the religious side of things and kind of the explanation of his point of view on this. But for me, I kind of read it and I took a step back and I thought to myself, I'm like, man, that's so true that sometimes forgiveness is huge. And the other piece of it is, as people are learning, you got to remember that not everyone is as fortunate as you to grow up in the same situation as you. So, give you an example. I was talking to someone yesterday and talking about some people they're mentoring and kind of trying to help them through some things. And I just, I kind of asked the individual, I said, how is it different from when you were raised? What kind of values were you taught? It's like, you got to remember, not everyone was raised that way. Not everyone's environment was brought up that way. So they don't have the armor. They don't have the skill set, the mindset, the acumen. Sometimes people grow up in scenarios that are pretty tough, that are kind of broken, and that don't have the full. They're kind of like a wounded duck. They don't have all the things they need to kind of get moving or get flying, right? So sometimes you got to nurture them a lot as a mentor and as a coach to get them to the point where maybe others start off at, based on life experience and based on how they were raised and based on that atmosphere and that culture they're brought up in. And that's okay, right? That's okay. And in a business like I'm in, that's why it takes people a long time, sometimes 2, 3, 4 years to move up into leadership or management positions, because they start from literally a place where they're in a tough spot inside and outside and whatever. And you got to spend a lot of time working and developing and helping just to get them to the starting point where their people are because of their life experience, and then moving them on to where they want to go. But I've found that those people, if you're patient and you take time with them, they're incredibly loyal and they're incredibly grateful for you going out of your way. And I'll tell you, I think no matter where everybody starts in their career path or their life path, or when you come across them, you got to remember it may not be in the same spot you were. But if you look to not abandon them and you look to really help them and serve them, it can really help you reach your goals. So anyways, just want to share some of those things today. Just had a couple main points for you guys. Happy Friday. My goal every week is to bring things to help you guys think about your life and think about your careers and your relationships. Again, to serve my purpose of helping change the world one leader at a time. Appreciate everybody for jumping on this morning. If you can do us a favor here at our Clear channel, if you could take the channel and maybe share it with someone that you think it could help them. I can tell you this. I literally had, again, people coming by yesterday I'd never met before that came to visit our office, and they've been watching the channel week over week for months. And some of the things that they've gotten from some of the interviews we brought on, or some of the content that I bring, has really helped them. I will tell you, over the next 6 to 8 weeks, we got a few people that we're in discussions with to bring onto the channel that are completely outside of the stratosphere of my industry. There's like literally like really, really different industries that are entrepreneurs and people that are incredibly successful in what they do, and very, very unique businesses that I've become kind of networked with and become in contact with. So I'm excited to bring some of those people on because I know in being successful in life and meeting some of these people, there are threads, there are things that are, people do no matter what industry they're in, no matter what they do for a living, that are all the same. The 1% or even the 0.5% of the 1% of the world that make the most money and do the best, they all know the same stuff. And I'm a firm believer you can learn it too. So happy Friday. Thanks for jumping on. Just have a great weekend and enjoy. But again, take a time this weekend, halfway through the year, review those goals. And so you have a killer, second half of the year. Thanks so much.